In the far, mountainous land of Cowes, nestled in the small village of Tegan, lived a 5-year-old girl named Sandira Newden. Her home was a simple, one-room house, shared with her worn-out father, Gamara, her mother, Parasha, her 3-year-old brother, Giwam, and her baby sister, Samdina. Their world was one of poverty, marked by a few clucking chickens, 2 goats, and a handful of possessions. Yet, amidst the scarcity, one treasure sat on a small table, an old, tattered book titled The Shadows of Dreams. Gamora, unable to read, had found it years ago while repairing a house. The pictures fascinated him, but for little Sandy, the book was something more. Even before she could walk, Sandy would sit for hours, her tiny fingers tracing not just the black and white images, but the mysterious lines of text. The book was her comfort. Whenever she cried, her mother would hand it to her, and silence would fall. It was as if she was trying to solve a grand puzzle, her young mind captivated by the world locked within those pages. In Tegan, the path for girls was set in stone. They were to work the fields, help their mothers, and marry young. Education was a luxury, and for girls, it was an impossibility. Boys could attend school, but few ever finished, resources being as scarce as rain in the dry season. But Gamara and Parasha harbored a radical dream. Illiterate themselves, they saw a different future for their daughter. They wanted Sandy to break the cycle, to be the first in their family to read and write. Their resolve hardened into relentless work. Gamara toiled, repairing homes for a pittance and selling the few vegetables they could grow. Parusha labored in the fields, her 2 younger children, Gaiham and Samdina, watching from the shade of a small tree. The village whispered and mocked. Wasting money on a girl, they'd say. What good can come of it? But the Newden family paid them no mind. Getting Sandy into school was a battle in itself. For days, weeks, and then months, Gamera pleaded with the school's principal, Mr. Pate, an influential figure in the village. Finally, worn down by Gamara's persistence, Mr. Pate relented. Sandy could attend primary school, but she was to sit in the far corner of the classroom, an outcast from the start. School was a lonely place. Sandy had no friends. When the teacher asked a question, her hand would shoot up, full of certainty, only to be ignored. Again and again, she tried, her arm a constant, hopeful flag in the corner of the room. Some of the boys would bully her, but she pressed on, her focus unwavering. As Sandy blossomed into a teenager, her world remained small, but her mind expanded with every book she could find. She spent little time with girls her age. Her truest friends were the characters and knowledge she found in her school texts. But then, tragedy struck. Her hero, her father, Gamara, was diagnosed with a terminal illness. Within a few short months, he was gone. The world seemed to fall apart, the light of her biggest supporter extinguished. Yet, Sandy's spirit, forged in hardship, did not break. 2 years later, another dark cloud gathered. Gaiwam, her only brother, now considered the head of the family, accidentally drowned in the Mufon River. The weight of grief was immense, but Sandy's resolve remained unshakable. She channeled her pain into her studies, emerging, year after year, as the top student in her class. It wasn't because she was inherently smarter than everyone else. It was because she was a relentless, hard worker. She possessed a fierce belief in herself, a determination to persevere no matter the obstacle. After finishing school, she faced a new wall. Tertiary education was a distant dream. She wrote letter after emotional letter to the few companies in Bukas, the only major city in Cowes, begging for a chance, for sponsorship. The replies were all the same. A waste of money, nothing good can come from Tegan village. Hope began to dwindle. But one of Sandy's letters landed on the desk of a kind-hearted individual who was moved by her story of struggle and ambition. Just when it seemed all doors had closed, a letter arrived. It was an offer to study medicine overseas, all expenses paid. Years passed. The little girl from the one-room house in Tegan became Dr. Sandira Newden. But she didn't stop there. She returned to her homeland, not just as a doctor, but as a force for change. Today, Tegan is no longer a forgotten village. It has its own hospital, more schools, and education for girls is now a right, not a foolish dream. And Sandira Newden, she became the first woman ever elected to the highest position in the government of Cowes. She hadn't chased shadows and dreams from an old, tattered book. She had wrestled them into reality. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more.